MeMonster.
Chapter 176. Several evenings had passed. In the living room of the mansion reserved for Party 1, on the 4th floor of the waiting room, the major heroes of Taunia had gathered. Edis cleared her throat, signaling she wanted to speak. I nodded, and she took a deep breath before beginning. I think everyone here must have witnessed a similar scene. Silence filled the room. Most of the heroes present were 4-star heroes, from Kishasha and Katio, who had been 4 stars since their summoning, to Jenna and me, who had started at 1 star and been promoted up to 4 stars. Currently, there are 6 4-star heroes: myself, Velkist, Jenna, and Edis. Except for Edis, everyone else belonged to Party 1. As members of other parties were also scheduled for promotion, the number of 4-star heroes would gradually increase. Jenna sighed. It's incredible. I don't know exactly what it means, but I can tell it's significant. Are you talking about those people crowded in that palace? Velkist asked, arms crossed. I just did as I was told from above, but it seems there was a meaning to all that. I should have paid more attention. I don't quite understand. Could someone explain? Weren't we just supposed to annihilate those enemies? There was meaning to the missions we undertook, Edis replied. I'm not so sure. I have no interest in solving riddles. It just looked like a bunch of humans and monsters gathered in a splendid palace, squawking at each other before it all ended. What meaning does that have? If you didn't know the full context, it could be confusing. The story had shifted to a strange place once we had promoted past 2 stars. There were few hints to discern the purpose of this world's existence. It's terribly vague. If you're going to inform us, you should do it properly, Velka said. That's true. There are many confusing parts, Jenna agreed. If you don't know, let me explain step by step. Neressa spoke up from a corner of the table. She was the only 3-star among the heroes here, and knew quite a bit about this world and the missions, so I had called her. Neressa cleared her throat and spoke. To put it bluntly, our homeland Taunia is already ruined. The reason we were summoned here is to reverse that past and save Taunia. Velkist furrowed his brow. The scene you all saw was just before Taunia's destruction. It's meant to show how this world was created. This is a bit... Let me explain slowly, Neressa continued, glancing at me before going on. Our homeland Taunia was long destroyed. We had to return to Taunia before its destruction to carry out our mission. The heroes summoned to the waiting room are chosen to save the world, and the princess plays a key role in the mission. It's a bit complex, Jenna said, scratching her head nervously. Even if what Neressa said is right, I don't remember agreeing to any contract. When I came to my senses, I was here. My analysis is that lower-grade heroes might have been brought here against their will. It seems different for higher-grade heroes. So in the end, I was dragged here against my will. It seems so, Neressa confirmed. Everyone contributed to the discussion as the meeting proceeded. Jenna and Velkist still seemed unconvinced. Neressa continued, breaking down the information into understandable chunks. My memory is different. I've never seen that blonde woman, Kishasha said. Maybe your memories will return with the next promotion. I also seem to remember hearing someone's voice. It's a very faint memory, but it might have been the goddess, Edis replied calmly. Either way, nothing changes. We still have to break through up to the 100th floor. Whether Taunia is in trouble or not is just an annoying issue. Nothing changes, but this information, if spread carelessly, could disturb the others. Let's keep our mouths shut about this among ourselves. Han, what do you think about the lower floors? Edis approached me. I want to hear your thoughts. You haven't said anything so far. That's true. Brother, what do you think about what we saw? Jenna asked. All eyes were now on me. I clicked my tongue and finally spoke. I don't care. Do as you please. What? Let me know how you decide later. I'll follow along. I stood up from my seat. Edis followed, looking flustered. Where are you going? Sorry, I'm not feeling well. I quickly left the drawing room. Even if I stayed quiet, Nerissa and Edis would lead the meeting. The conclusion would be reached soon enough. The truth of this world would be kept secret except for major combat details, and we would not discuss it carelessly with others. That was the direction the meeting was taking. All of it is a lie anyway. What I had seen was something I could tell no one. Whether they would believe it or not, the information itself was dangerous. If the heroes knew the goddesses treated the people of Taunia like toys, their morale would drop drastically. I opened the door at the end of the hallway. It was my room. I collapsed on the sofa beside my bed. It's annoying. Everything was so complicated. I didn't even know how many times I'd been betrayed. The scenes I had witnessed spun in my head. I need to organize this. For that, I needed help. I snapped my fingers, and immediately, stardust twinkled beside me. The first of Loki's subordinates, Iselle, arrived. She spun around and perched on my shoulder. I began to unravel the tangled information, piece by piece. Iselle watched me thoughtfully. "You've been strange for a few days. What's going on?" "I have a question. Can you answer it?" "Of course. Ask me anything," Iselle said, boldly thumping her chest. "Anything, huh? Let's see." I smiled and began. "I saw something interesting at the promotion ceremony." "Yes, the 4-star promotion ceremony here received a lot of attention from the director. It was specially made for Taunia, so it should be easy to understand." They did a good job of spinning a convincing tale. Iselle flinched. "What do you mean, Loki?" "Yes or no answers only." I remained silent, and Iselle, though taken aback, nodded hesitantly. "The purpose of this game is to save a destroyed world. Is that correct?" "Yes. The Master and Heroes, the waiting room, exists for that purpose. The missions too. The purpose of this world's existence is to reverse the world's destruction. That's the core meaning of the power of interference, and why the Master, Heroes, and the waiting room exist." "Right. Why are you asking all of a sudden? Now for the real question. Are the monsters in the missions related to the destruction? Why are we fighting those creatures?" "Wait, that's to save Taunia," Iselle hesitated. I closed my eyes. I remembered the features of the destroyed worlds I had seen while riding the airship. Some worlds were engulfed in flames, others were covered by seas, and some were completely frozen. Each had distinct characteristics, but they shared one thing in common. No one lives there. Not a human, not a monster, not even a blade of grass could survive in those completely dead lands. They were truly destroyed. "Iselle, I know more than you think. Don't try to hide it from me. Are any of the creatures that appeared in the missions responsible for the destruction?" I opened my eyes. Iselle, trembling, spoke. "No." "Then why did we go through all that trouble?" Iselle looked at me with fearful eyes. It was a sign that she couldn't speak. I grinned and drew my weapon, Bifrost. "Use this. It can block their eyes." Iselle looked around cautiously before placing her hand on the blade. Dark energy flowed from the sword, enveloping both me and Iselle. "If they find out about this, it's really the end for me." "Don't worry, I'll protect you." "You're not lying," Iselle looked up at me. "It won't be long before I get that strong." "Okay." Iselle took a deep breath. "Loki, did you really visit the 0 floor?" It seemed that was what they called the place I had been. I nodded. "Yeah, they sure spun a good lie. If they catch you, it's really over." Iselle sighed, her chest heaving, before speaking. "The monsters you've been fighting have nothing to do with the destruction of Taunia. Those creatures were heroes from the past, whether human or from another race." "Yes. Indeed. That meant the creatures we had been joyfully slaughtering were once guardians who'd risked their lives to protect Taunia.
The ones we will kill in the future will be the same. Why did it have to be this way? To create a game, such measures are necessary. The two goddesses of Mobius created the game Pick Me Up to manipulate the destiny of worlds destined for destruction, specifically to harness the power of Earthlings from a higher dimension of Mobius. If there are heroes in the game, there must be enemies. That's why they turned perfectly fine people into enemies. If they had brought in real enemies, we wouldn't stand a chance. Isel nodded. I knew it. The real enemies that we will have to face will appear after the 80th floor. I understood now. If those kinds of beings appeared right from the start, not even a deity of the game could defeat them. So the existence of the monsters before that was... I grimly smiled. So they're just for experience points. The monsters are mostly sacrifices for the hero's progress. The process of turning them into monsters does cause some damage, so it interferes with restoration. Indeed, when Mobius-affiliated worlds are destroyed, the director decides the monsters and heroes based on her criteria. I think I get it now. I remembered the scenes from back then. If they had accepted the goddess's offer, they could have become high-grade heroes. But since no one accepted, they became monsters. It seems I understand the conditions for the inherent ranks. The influence during their lifetimes likely determined their ranks. The key figures of those worlds became high-ranking. Those close to being extras became low-ranking. Whether consciously or unconsciously, those who agreed with the goddesses remained as heroes, while those who opposed them became monsters. They just do whatever they feel like. I laughed in disbelief. One thing was clear. Whether hero or monster, all were mere puppets, just like the master. This much was trivial. The director was still hiding numerous secrets, deliberately showing only the information that was beneficial to itself. It was disgusting. Even this promotion ceremony proved it. Suddenly, I thought of Priya. Was she just disposable? Not just Priya. Including me, it applied to everyone. I got up. Thank you. I have a better understanding of this world because of you. Don't worry. I'll make sure no harm comes to you. What I needed to do hadn't changed. Climb the tower, deal with the monsters, and keep getting stronger. And then, when the time comes, return to Earth. Only one more thing had been added to do in the meantime. I hadn't cared about it before. I was already annoyed by the situation, but if I could just return, it didn't really matter. Just leave as if I didn't know anything. That's what I had thought. But now, it was clear. You're screwed.
Chapter 177. The Next Morning. The results of the meeting were in. As expected, the decision was to thoroughly hide the truth from the lower-grade heroes while urging them to redouble their efforts in completing their missions. Edis and the others finally understood the reason for fighting and seemed a bit more at ease. Last night, Nerissa had come to see me. She subtly asked if I knew anything, but I sent her away without a word. Nerissa might have explained the situation to the others, but if her memory was intact, she should have realized something was off. Still, I couldn't tell her. Sigh. Another secret I had to bury in my heart. It was bothersome, but unavoidable since I was already hiding things. We would rest, then climb the tower again. But before that, do you wish to become stronger? On the right side of my field of vision, a video was playing on anything's screen. In the video, a giant dragon spewed fire. Do you wish to test your limits? Dozens of airships hovered near the dragon. The shadows of numerous heroes were visible among them. Then challenge yourself. The lofty glory will be yours, Master. Coming soon. The video ended with the giant dragon and the heroes colliding. Anything who had paused operations for a while pressed the play button again. The PV, flaunting Moebius Company's wealth, was lavishly decorated with 3D and CG effects. A new season had begun. Periodically, a large event encompassing the entire server was held. One of them was the seasonal World Raid Festa. World Raid Festa. Masters, the long-awaited Festa is back, an event for those who can't control their power, the high rankers, and for Masters aiming for the top ranks. Here are the details. I read through the announcement. It wasn't much different from previous ones. The condition to participate was to join a dimensional city in certain sectors. Since it involved outdoor activities, airships were necessary. It's tough without airships. Still, some would manage to rent one and make it. The main event was the World Raid. A large monster would appear at a certain point, and Masters would form a joint front to defeat it. The rewards were rare materials, typically unobtainable by normal means. I had obtained the items used for the 5 legendary artifacts from this raid. Other rewards included top-grade soul stones, promotion stones, and special airship blueprints. Do you wish to become stronger? Anything played the video again. He seemed quite hooked on the event. However, you're not up to snuff. Would a low-level master butt in where double-digit rankers swarm? No, even those around rank 100 couldn't easily join the World Raid. Those who carelessly tried to join would get smashed by Niflheim. From my perspective, it was natural. After all the hardship, when I'd beaten everything down, others would casually show up and tap a few times to claim the rewards, even though they'd watched from behind during the fierce battle. Those freeloaders get crushed. While other servers shared rewards amidst laughter and joy, there was no such thing in Server 2. If you didn't do your share, you'd be torn apart by the Niflheim fleet. The share was an absolute evaluation, and currently Taunia had no chance of meeting it. Wake up! Even if you participated, you'd turn to dust at the gesture of the raid monster. Taunia's forces were at best a medium-sized airship than a few 4-star heroes. It was better to join the main event after growing stronger. What I was aiming for was something else. During the Festa period, special events will be held in various places in the Dimensional City. Excellent performances in these events will earn heroes points and prizes. Accumulate points and buy various materials and items from the event shop. Below, the list of prizes was detailed, from high-grade potions and consumables to top-tier promotion stones, blueprints for advanced facilities, and various rare materials. However, at the very bottom, highlighted with flashy effects, were 2 items. Rainbow Advent Stone. Jackpot. My hand involuntarily tensed up. I had been promoted to 4-star, but my engraving slots were still empty. Typically, you'd have to grind exploration dungeons to gather Advent Stones. At best, you could get a B-grade Advent Stone from the lower floors, but the Rainbow Advent Stones available in this event were up to S-grade. Engravings could be obtained by clearing Advent dungeons, but now we had a chance to get something big. Nice. It was an opportunity to dramatically speed up my sluggish growth. I was determined to participate in this event. After deciding, I scrolled down. The second highlighted item was shining. 5-star summon ticket. The rainbow-colored ticket sparkled. I rubbed my eyes and looked again. The holographic text hadn't changed. The color of the ticket was the same. Has the game company lost its mind? They're going to release a 5-star summon ticket. Anything's gaze turned this way. Are they sane? A 5-star guaranteed summon ticket? An item never released during the 7 previous Festa events? And it wasn't even a main event reward, but a sub-event reward. Of course, it wouldn't be released in large quantities, but having at least one was different from having none. I sighed. Anything's control window was locked on the 5-star summon ticket. I could tell how he felt just by looking at the screen. Anything immediately clicked on the banner at the top. If you want something right now, pay immediately. Moebius supports the Master's Choice. Festa Special Package 1 selected. Package contents: 2,000 gems, 100,000 gold, high-grade soulstone, with great benefits, 10% extra bonus points for Festa event prizes. All this for just 110,000 woon. The amount will be billed with next month's mobile phone bill. Would you like to proceed? Yes. A true game addict. Well, if you're aiming for high ranks, it's not too bad. Payment completed. Products have been sent to your mail. Please check. After receiving the items, Anything immediately started purchasing other packages, similar yet more expensive ones. With this, Anything received a total 30% extra points buffers for this event. Gift Shop. Buying Warhorse statue for 5,000 gold. Giving Warhorse statue to Han, 4-star. The Warhorse statue thudded onto the desk beside me. I clicked my tongue. I could clearly understand Anything's intention. You want me to bring the 5-star summon ticket with just one Warhorse statue? Makes sense. There would be at least hundreds of masters participating in the event. Only one ticket might be released. To get it, one must sweep through numerous competitive events. Buying Warhorse statue for 5,000 gold. Buying Warhorse statue for 5,000 gold. Buying Warhorse statue for 5,000 gold. Giving Warhorse statue to Han, 4-star. Giving Warhorse statue to Han, 4-star. Giving Warhorse statue to Han, 4-star. Warhorse statues piled up in the corner. I lined up the statues spilling out in the display case. Before long, half the display was filled with statues.
Ultimately, my goal was the Rainbow Advent Stone. Getting the first engraving right was crucial, as it would determine the course of my growth. The 5-star summon ticket, if there's a chance, I'll take it as well. I reviewed the event rules again. Entry to the Dimensional City, the event venue, was limited to one party per master. Additionally, there were entrance restrictions based on rating. For example, the Dimensional City closest to this waiting room was a 4-star exclusive area. They want us to compete at similar levels. I like this. I went through the rules again. During the Festa period, events were held throughout the city, and heroes had to participate in multiple events to achieve high rankings. That's the basics. For more details, I'd have to go there myself. I rose from my chair. It was late evening, but there were still people working. Damn it. In the hangar at the gap between dimensions, Katiayo was grumbling as he checked the airship system. "You said no overtime when you lured me in." I cleared my throat as I approached Katiayo. "How's the maintenance going?" "No big issues, as long as there's enough fuel. But why are we doing maintenance? Planning to go somewhere?" Katiayo turned to look at me. Dark circles were under his eyes. I looked up at the capitalism. It had been upgraded with better parts. Every part of the deck had been replaced with steel. The weapons were bigger and stronger, and the engine had been enhanced for more thrust. "There's an event." "An event?" "You can get some flashy items." "I feel like I've heard of that somewhere." Katiayo tilted his head. I continued with a smile. "Don't worry, you're not coming. The mechanic will be used as the driver." The members participating in the event had already been decided. Anything had already formed the party. Forming a party. Drag and drop the hero. Han, 4 stars, joins, bring the ticket. Jenna, 4 stars, joins, bring the ticket. Velkist, 4 stars, joins, bring the ticket. Kishasha, 4 stars, joins, bring the ticket. Edis, 4 stars, joins, bring the ticket. Even the party name was deliberately chosen. I chuckled. There's been a change in members. Excluding Katiayo and including Edis was a natural move if you considered my strategy. Such events usually involved individual competitions. The wizard class, weak in one-on-one, didn't fit. It's decided. Our Townia will participate in this festa. The airship, maintenance completed, awaited departure. I immediately gathered the participating members and explained the purpose of the event. So Jenna scratched her cheek. "What is this called? What is it? Isn't it like a sports day?" "Similar. There are various competitions. Anyway, we're going to the Dimensional City to sweep up the prizes. Our party is for that reason." "But I'm not part of the first party." This time, Katiayo is resting. "Edis, you'll take his place." Velkist frowned. "To be involved in such childish games. I'm busy with training." "It's not a child game. We will risk our lives there. We won't actually die, but it's almost like that. And there are 2 things there that you'll like. Every Raid Festa invariably hosts two events. The first is an individual tournament. The second is a team tournament. Massive prizes and points are at stake in the special events of the Dimensional City. Thought you'd just kick a ball around and play? It's about having a battle with the other guys gathering there. That wouldn't be too bad then. He was easy to persuade in many ways. Kishasha and Jenna, since I suggested it, agreed without much complaint. And Edis, though somewhat dubious, ultimately consented. It was beneficial to give Edis this experience who would control the raid in my stead. Thousands will gather. I lowered my voice. Those girls gathering there are all chicks. While we've been struggling hard, they've been leisurely camping on easy missions. Our goal is clear. First place. To bring back the 5-star summon ticket as anything hopes, that's the only way. The possibility isn't low. The difficulty of Taunia's missions is nonsensical. To clear them, the heroes of Taunia must also become comparably strong. These guys don't know how strong they are. They'll gain some confidence. It will help boost morale. Anyway, just keep piling up the warhorse statues, and I'll bring you the item you want.
Chapter 178. A cold breeze swept across my nape. I squinted my eyes open. Far away, a whirlwind of dimensions raged. Beyond it, the landscape of a vast city was visible. Event area. Dimensional City, Hellas. Days had passed since the event notification was posted. After establishing a basic strategy, we moved to participate in the event and soon approached the event zone. I looked around. Besides the capitalism, on which we were aboard, numerous airships, large and small, were scattered everywhere. The fleet stretched as far as the eye could see. There are so many airships, Jenna said, scratching her cheek. If it happens, good. If not, oh well. Don't feel pressured. If we return empty-handed, Master is going to scold us terribly. Well, what can we do? I chuckled. I'll do my best, but there's always a chance. Since there was no dying in this event, I decided to enjoy it with a light heart. Jenna stretched out her legs, then headed inside the ship to join the others at the airship's training area. The Raid Festa's special event consisted of 3 parts: individual tournament, team tournament, one undisclosed event. To get the 5-star summon ticket, anything wanted, and the high-grade ascension stone I needed, we had to place high in the special events. We had exactly 5 people, so the number was perfect. 1 for the individual tournament, 3 for the 3v3 team tournament, the last person for the secret event. Those who finished their events quickly would roam the city and challenge minor sub-events. Then we'd aggregate the scores and claim the rewards. That was the plan, at least. Ooh. The noise from countless airships rang in my ears. With 5 people per airship, at least 1,000 participants were in the event. More would keep arriving after us. Consider it a gathering of masters who could operate airships at level 40 from the second server. It was a relief that the high levels weren't here. Masters with 5-star or higher grades moved on to upper-tier dimensional cities. That was fortunate. If it was a competition among similar levels, it was definitely manageable. Although numerous, most were just dregs. I recalled various games from past festas while waiting for our arrival. 30 minutes later. We have arrived at our destination. The broadcast from Taunia's mechanic, Roddy, came through. I opened my eyes. Capitalism, having penetrated the dimensional whirlwind, was entering the docking station. The scale of the docking station was at least several kilometers. Hundreds of airships that had arrived earlier were already positioned. Whoa. Capitalism made a low-altitude flight and stopped in an empty parking area. Thunk. The airship came to a complete stop. The event participants walked out onto the deck. Jenna, Velkist, Kishasha, and lastly Edis from the second party. What should I do? Roddy, dressed in a mechanic's outfit, pointed at herself. Just have fun and take good care of the airship. Sure, good luck. Click. Stairs descended from the airship's railing. I stepped down and set foot on the land of the dimensional city. These buildings look peculiar.
It's my first time seeing such structures, Edith muttered. That was expected. Except for me, none of the other members had seen such a scene. They've set up an interesting prank. This time, the setting was a modern city. 4-lane roads stretched out at right angles, and between them, high-rise commercial buildings soared like forests. Master, Bring the Ticket Party has arrived in the event area. The event screen can be checked through the Festa icon in the main menu. It displays points earned, the list of prizes, the status and morale of the heroes, and the list of events happening in the city. Some would require the Master's assistance. Check carefully each time to score high. We support you, Master. Festa Package Buff. Bonus points plus 30% applied. There are so many people, it's annoying. Velkis scowled. It was literal. The square outside the docking station was so crowded there was hardly room to stand. Dozens of buses parked on the road were busy transporting people, but even more heroes kept pouring in. Buzzing. The noise from the crowd rang in my ears. Line up, one by one, no cutting in line. If you fight arbitrarily, you'll be kicked out right away. Some personnel stood out. They moved among the heroes in well-tailored suits, blue ID badges hanging around their necks. Mobius Corporation's employees, perhaps. It seems so. They soothed heroes dazed by the unfamiliar place, loaded them onto buses, and mediated between quarreling heroes. There are too many people. It smells, Kishasha gagged. Edith glanced at me, then took the staggering Kishasha to a less crowded place. It seemed our turn to board the bus would be quite late. Oppa, I've brought something helpful. Jenna handed me a long rectangular piece of paper. I scanned the topmost letters. Dimensional City. Guide pamphlet. This place is modeled after a city in a faraway dimension boasting technology and convenience superior to Mobius. The pamphlet included a background of the city, usage of facilities, a simple explanation about vehicles, and more. They called that a bus. It's a horseless carriage. It moves on wheels and carries people. I know that without explanation. I nodded reluctantly. Ah, it seems we will sleep at a place called a hotel. Meals are buffet style. We can take as much delicious food as we want. This is absolutely... Are all the people here 4 stars? Velkist interrupted. Jenna handed the pamphlet to Velkist, who snatched it and skimmed the guide. It seems so, Velkist found. Why? What's wrong? They don't seem very strong. Weren't 4 stars supposed to handle at least a few minions? Velkist's eyes moved. I knew where he was looking. The footsteps, posture, hands, and gazes of nearby heroes. Velkist, particularly sharp-eyed, could gauge the strength of a target just by observing. Wake up from your dreams, strongest 4-star hero, I patted Velkist's head. Boring. If there were 4-star parties raised by high-tier masters here, it would be different, but those users had mostly moved on to upper-level dimensional cities. Most of the masters gathered here were stuck at level 40. Of course, not all, just most. I looked back. A large-scale airship, at least 3 times larger than capitalism, was descending. There are a few masters who choose the head of a snake over the tail of a dragon. The first of them had appeared. Judging by the size and facilities of the airship, its master was a user in the 60s. From an airship visible even outside the docking station, 4-star heroes were descending. Watch them closely, those are the real competitors. Indeed, not entirely absent. High-level masters began to appear one after another. The rewards of this city would mostly be swept by the high levels. The rest of the ordinary users would scavenge whatever was left after the high levels had their fill.
5 of them, huh? Masters who had reached high levels and decided to join the 4-star event? Their heroes would surely be equipped with various high-end gear and engravings, and it was almost impossible for an ordinary user to gather even one innate 4-star hero, let alone a party composed entirely of them, unless they were a heavy spender. Anyway, it was through such events that I started to gain attention as a master. The leader of the 4-star party snorted as she entered the square. Dressed in dazzling silver armor with a jewel-studded rapier at her waist, she confidently walked among the heroes, her tied-back blonde hair fluttering.
Riffraffs, the woman spoke, without hiding her emotions. She wore the flashy silver armor stylishly. Her master was several levels above the users present here, and she enjoyed a status akin to a king in her own territory. That lady seems strong, but does it make you irritated? Yes, well, Jenna did not deny it. I smiled and turned away. Watching the end of that person might not be a bad spectacle. A good show had emerged. When about half of the plaza had emptied, vroom, a special vehicle appeared on the 4-lane road where only buses had been passing. It slid in silently and stopped at the entrance of the docking station. Why is that? I frowned. At first glance, I recognized it. A luxurious black limousine. The side door opened, and an elderly man in a neatly dressed suit stepped out. The old man stood dignifiedly next to the door. I looked to the side. The blonde woman, who had been watching the limousine with an interest, approached the old man. "What is this?" "A carriage for a special guest." "That's good. Our party will take it." "I'm sorry, but you are not qualified." "That's funny. My master has climbed up to the 64th floor. I'm the submaster and the leader of the raiding party. I think that's quite enough qualification compared to the trash gathered here. Isn't that right?" "Miss, you're going too far. Trash, really? Aren't we all 4 stars?" "We're innate 4 stars, and you all are clearly innate 1 star or 2 star. Yes, that's right. Trash. Don't talk to me. It's upsetting." "What? What?" The woman who had scoffed turned back to the old man. "Our party has come here to be number 1 in this event. Naturally, that will happen. I think that should be enough explanation. So, again, I must inform you, you are not qualified." "That's ridiculous. Then who is?" The old man pointed at the sky. Everyone's gaze followed his finger. An airship was entering. The woman's expression soured. The airship was not large, at best about the size of capitalism, but it had a completely different design, a sleek black gloss and streamlined body. The master's emblem was embedded on the side. "Are you saying that our Arius is pathetic compared to that minnow-like airship? Seriously, words fail me." The propellers on both wings folded as the airship landed. Holy crap! It looks to be about level 50. Let's see. What kind of distinguished person would be qualified, I wonder? The emblem is a black goat. A black goat? The woman tilted her head. Then her eyes widened. God, a black goat? The woman gasped. "What's a black goat?" Velkist whispered to me. I sighed. The side of the airship opened, and stairs descended. From those stairs, heroes in black uniforms walked down one by one. Boom! The sound of a horn echoed. I had heard this sound before. It was a signal for the entry of a ranker. No, not just heard of. Yernet! I recalled her smiling face. She really pulled off a cute trick.
Chapter 179. Why on earth are these people here? The elderly gentleman spoke up. "You will be in the way of our guests. Would you mind stepping aside?" The woman stepped back, looking bewildered. Soon after, the main subjects of discussion appeared. 2 men and 2 women, all clad in stiff black uniforms, walked toward a parked limousine with deliberate steps, arranged in pairs. "That uniform, it looks familiar," Jenna said, tilting her head in thought. I clicked my tongue. "Ah, I remember now. Niflheim, that really strong place. But why are they here? I thought those people played in bigger waters." I narrowed my eyes. There was no reason for Niflheim to be here. Not even high-graded vent stones or 5-star summon tickets were worth their attention. Yet, here they were, having given up even the chance to enter a higher-tier Dimension City. This is too much. I haven't heard of such a story. "Please, get in," the old man said, opening the limousine door. "There's still one person left.
Please wait a moment." The young man in the lead shook his head. A white cross was embroidered on the left chest of the uniform, the emblem of a senior trainee from Niflheim's training center. The other three wore similar badges. They only brought the core members. All four, as far as I recalled, seemed to have been summoned during my absence, but it was clear they were the best 4-star heroes currently available in Niflheim. Their senior counterparts would have become 5 stars long ago. Why is Niflheim here? The blonde woman, who had been out of the loop, stood blankly. The superior trainees of Niflheim stood unshaken under the gaze of onlookers, seemingly waiting for the last member. Shortly afterwards, the final member joined, hurrying after the others with a steel spear strapped to his back. "What were you doing? You're late." "Sorry, I was changing my clothes," he replied, scratching his cheek with an embarrassed expression. The limousine, carrying the Niflheim event party, exited the square. Jenna, watching in disbelief, muttered, "Did I see that wrong? I was wondering where he'd disappeared to. So he was over there." Velkust sneered. "I've heard about Niflheim too. They say it's the strongest in this district. If he's being treated like that, doesn't that mean he's made some progress? Good for them." "That's strange, Aaron, but wouldn't he prefer them over a place like ours?" "It's better to wait and see. There might be some circumstances we don't know about," I said. Edis, who had joined by then, added, "Even if he has chosen them over us, it should be something for us to celebrate. Our situation is indeed harsh, isn't it, Han?" "Well, yes," I replied with a smirk. The last member of the event party was Aaron. His height was towering, and his face was somewhat naive, but his aura had clearly changed. The reward doesn't matter, but it's a matter of Niflheim's external image. They would never send any mediocrity. This could be tricky. We might not even get a chance to grab the summon ticket. "Don't push yourself too hard. It's just a warm-up," I said to myself. Ultimately, my goal was the event stones. The summon ticket was a bonus. Take it or leave it. This event had attracted many special guests. It was a good chance to gauge how much I had grown. As the transport buses began to thin the crowd in the square, our Townia party boarded the last bus. According to the pamphlet, the opening ceremony was tomorrow. We were supposed to rest at the hotel tonight. "Are you listening?" "What?" I replied, looking at the back of the bus as Velkust spoke to me. "From what I know, that senior had no talent, right?" "That's right. Even 10 of him wouldn't match up to you." "But it's strange that he's here." "He must have gotten stronger," I said, leaning my arms on the windowsill. "Anyway, Niflheim is an enemy in this festa. They would be the strongest competitors, especially in the main tournament, and it's very likely that one of their members will be Aaron. Are they sending Aaron to gain some experience?" I expected it, but the exact intention was unclear. Whether it was the will of Yernit or Moiden, I could get an answer immediately if I called, but I didn't want to rely on them here. Or there was a chance that Aaron had completely switched sides. No one can predict how people will change their hearts. If he has switched, there's nothing I can do. Better to live comfortably in Niflheim than die like a dog in Townia. That's how I see it. I pondered these thoughts until we arrived. Before I knew it, we had reached a skyscraper hotel in the city center. Under the bellboy's guidance, we unpacked our luggage. Upon seeing the scale of the building for the first time, Jenna was overly excited, and Edis couldn't hide her surprise. Kishasha was dizzy and vomited several times. I explained the facilities and other precautions to the members, helping them adapt. "What? Niflheim is here? Why would they? What's all this fuss about?" "Haven't you heard of Loki before? Niflheim, the strongest combat group on Server 2. You know, the Union Guild incident. They wiped out hundreds of airships with just 4 people." Niflheim, Niflheim. My ears hurt. In the hotel's 8th floor corridor, Jenna was pushing a metal cart stacked with numerous dishes from the buffet restaurant on the 1st floor. Our assigned quarters were a triple room on the 8th floor, prepared with 5 rooms and 3 double beds. A large table suitable for strategy meetings was also set up in the living room. But really, has Aaron switched sides? Do you know something? Jenna asked. Well, we'll know when we talk. I don't know where he is. The counter won't tell me. I should have asked when we parted ways with Niflheim. What will you do if he has switched sides? I'll persuade him. Tell him to come back. But there's no place for him if he returns. That I don't know. Anyway, I don't like the idea of fighting against Aaron. Jenna sighed deeply. It was a rare, sorrowful expression. Jenna chided me not to tease her as I laughed and tapped her shoulder. Anyway, I'll have to talk to him myself, as soon as possible. That evening, a meeting was convened with all the members of the event party. This festival has 3 special events: a one-on-one individual match, a 3-on-3 team match, and a random event. To win, you need to succeed in all 3. I've heard about that. The members have already been decided? Yes, I replied. The members for the individual and team matches had been predetermined. Kashasha, Edis, and Jenna for the team match. The individual match was mine. Can you win? Velkist smiled silently.
Originally, I was to compete in the individual match. We don't know which event will come up. It's better if I go, Velkist said. Consequently, Velkist was set to participate in the individual match. We need to win all. If we don't, getting a 5-star summon ticket will be tough. Niflheim will be there too. We have to win. Do you have any doubts? Well, Jenna twisted her hair. She would never say she doubted herself. Whether it's Niflheim or the demon himself, if they show up, we'll beat them. Can you do it? I'll try. Good. Go to sleep early tonight. It'll be busy starting tomorrow. The meeting ended. I forcibly sent the members who wanted to train back to their rooms. It's better to manage our condition than to stay up all night trying to sync up. Despite their complaints, they all went to bed. You should sleep early too. Right. Of course, I wasn't planning on sleeping yet. Participating in an unknown event, I had to plan for all possibilities. I was used to staying up all night. It wouldn't be a problem for me. I focused on strategizing with the lamp on in the living room. Then, as the stars outside began to fade, knock knock. There was a knock at the front door. What now? It was deep into the night. I put away my papers and pen and headed to the front door, my left hand resting on the hilt of my dagger, ready for any surprise attack. Who is it? An unexpected figure was waiting outside. He looked at my face and then bowed his head. Sorry if you were sleeping. I can come back later. No, I wasn't sleeping. Come in. Thank you. When I opened the door, Aaron entered. He alternated his gaze between me and the floor, looking nervous. What are you doing? Just standing there like that? Yes. Aaron hurried into the living room. I placed 2 glasses of water on the table and sat opposite him. The other members are... They're asleep. It's late. I'm really sorry. There was no other time. That's fine. I took a sip of water. It's been a while. Have you been well? Yes, I've been doing well. I'm relieved to see that you, Jenna, and Lady Adis are safe. That's so? Do we look like we could easily die? I smiled. I decided not to mention Iloka. It was better to keep that covered up. I examined Aaron closely. Up close, he was awkwardly wearing a wrinkled uniform, quite different from the other Niflheim members in crisply ironed clothes. He was stooped, and his hands were tightly wrapped in white bandages. Calluses and scabs could be glimpsed through the bandages. Seems the same. That foolish training regiment, too. How's the training going? It was hell every day. It still is, actually, Aaron replied, scratching his cheek. His hands show that he was undergoing rigorous training. I'm somehow keeping up. Why does your answer lack conviction after all the effort to send you? Sorry. I laughed and finished my water. Now for the main point. So why are you here? I'm from Taunia and you're from Niflheim. You're not asking me to go easy on you in the tournament, are you? It must still be a long way off for you to return. That's not it. I just wanted to tell you about my decision. Your decision? Aaron took a deep breath. It seemed he had something important to say. Hungnim, I will be competing in the individual category of this event. Aaron looked down at his bandaged hands. If I win the individual tournament, he clenched his fist, I intend to return to Taunia.
Chapter 180. The next morning, the opening ceremony of the event began. A representative from Mobius gave a speech outlining the purpose and briefly explained the rules. Here, I was able to get a clear schedule for the event. The event would last for 3 days. The first day included the opening ceremony and the preliminaries of the 3 major events. The second day would feature the main rounds, and the final rounds and championship would take place on the 3rd day. There were also minor events scattered throughout the schedule. Although Mobius and Earth have different time flows, the company adjusted the time axis specifically for this festival. The special event venues varied, so we had to scatter immediately after the opening ceremony. While moving, I reviewed the details I heard at the opening ceremony. One important detail was that even if someone died in the dimensional city, they could be resurrected without any loss of abilities. However, a resurrected hero would lose the right to participate in the event. Another point was that the recovery abilities of the waiting room did not apply here. Did Aaron say he would return if he won the one-on-one tournament? Aaron's voice lingered in my ears. It didn't seem like a joke. After a brief conversation with me, Aaron left to prepare for the competition. I was curious. Velkist was also participating in the one-on-one competition. I wanted to see the battle up close if possible. To do that, I had no choice but to finish my part as quickly as possible. Looking at the schedule, the singles event was held last. If I finished the preliminary round quickly, I might be able to go watch the singles event. I should start with my part first. I looked out the window. The 4-lane road was filled with transport buses, all carrying heroes participating in the random event. This category had an unusually high number of participants. It couldn't be helped. With rumors spreading that Niflheimer would participate in the individual and team events, many decided to withdraw from those events. Conversely, there was a rush of applicants for the random event in which Niflheimer was not participating. It seemed total victory wasn't their goal. Judging by their withdrawal from one category, it looked like they wanted to give the superior trainees some practical experience. They didn't seem particularly greedy for the 5-star summon ticket. Well, what can I say? This festa was an event for non-rankers. The current rankers didn't have the luxury of time for such petty tricks, being busy with preparations for the world raid. Essentially, Niflheimer was giving up on this raid. Rare materials were so abundant for them that skipping once really didn't matter. Soon the bus stopped. Along with the other participants, I followed the guidance of a staff member waiting in the parking lot and entered a huge domed stadium. "You can wait here. The person in charge will come soon," a female staff member said, quickly walking us into a spacious auditorium before exiting hurriedly. What are we supposed to do here? That's what I'm wondering. It's a strangely designed facility, but it doesn't seem special. Why is it taking so long? Call the manager quickly. Murmurs filled the dome. I leaned against the wall at the corner of the indoor stadium. There were a lot of people. Only one person among these could win the prize along with the championship. It was an exceedingly stingy event. After a few minutes, a tiny dot appeared at the distant lectern. The fairy flapped her pair of wings before folding them and sitting on the lectern. "Heroes participating in this event," the fairy spoke. Her black hair was long and braided, and she wore a form-fitting women's suit. Her cheeks puffed up like steamed buns, tinged with a hint of red. "Hello, everyone! You all exude the dignity of heroes. Thank you for participating in this battle royale I'm hosting. You truly have discernment. I'm moved by your enthusiastic participation." The fairy giggled, covering her mouth. Then a line of Mobius's temple staff stood at ease behind her. "As for me, Isel," someone called at the front. The fairy's gentle smile suddenly stiffened. Bang! As if triggered by the comment, the fairy flapped her wings with a tremendous boom and moved in front of the man at high speed, a sonic boom marking her speed. "What did you just say?" No. You're comparing me to some house fairy?" The fairy aggressively thrust her temple ID in the man's face. Can't you see this? It's a golden temple ID gifted to me personally by the CEO. Don't even compare me to the irregular slaves clinging to your homes. If you don't want your head smashed, understand. Huh? Do you understand? The man dumbly nodded. The fairy snorted and stepped back onto the platform. Oh, heroes, this event is a collaboration with the famous company. Collaboration. It's a great honor. I hope you all enjoy it. The masters are watching too. This is your chance to prove your courage and ability. Fight on! With a charming voice, the fairy shouted and began to spin in the air. Twinkle fairy power! Flash. A blue flash lit up the entire stadium and a holographic message appeared in front of everyone. Raid Festa. PlayerUnknown's Battle Royale. Note: this is not a knockoff. It's a collaboration. Let me explain the rules of the competition. A special superdimensional field is prepared for the event. 1. Participants start barehanded, returning all equipment, and must fight until only one remains by acquiring hidden items and equipment throughout the field. 2. The field shrinks at regular intervals and magical items, including supplies, are dropped. 3. Participants can form temporary parties for a common goal. Attention! This is not a knockoff. Please believe us. Below the message, a simple map of the field used for this competition was displayed. I quickly scanned the rules and map. What you see before you is the result of our excellent capabilities. PlayerUnknown's Battle Royale. Oh, if anyone speaks strangely, it's an officially permitted collaboration with another gaming company. Oh. Doesn't this violate copyright rules? Well, it doesn't matter. They say it's okay. It's not my business if they get sued. After a hearty laugh, the fairy clapped her hands as if remembering something and pulled out a jewel box from her robe. Pay attention! This is a special prize for the winner of this event. The fairy opened the box. A rainbow-colored stone sparkled on a soft cushion. A top-grade advent stone. Such an item that even idiots like you, no, heroes, would struggle to obtain. Click. The box closed. My eyes narrowed. I came to the right place. In truth, winning the ticket would be nice, but it wasn't necessary. I came to this festa to win that advent stone. I was worried it might not be included as a prize, but it seems I was right. Whew, that's a relief.
A faint whistle sounded. Turning to my side, a somewhat familiar woman was standing there. After some thought, I remembered her. Her party members were gathered around her. It seemed they had withdrawn from both the team and individual events. If we can get that summoning stone, we can break those guys' pride. Whether it's Niflheimer or whatever, they're all has-beens. Just wait for the next event. I'll make them lick my boots. The blonde knightess snorted with disdain. I would be meeting those guys soon. I turned my head. As I said earlier, dying here doesn't mean you're out. Thanks to Mobius's great technology, you'll be resurrected. For the audience's sake, kill a lot and die a lot. Now, everyone, let's start the preliminaries. Have fun. The fairy smiled sweetly and stepped down from the platform. Then she began to whip the lined-up employees with a leather whip. What are you irregular slave bastards doing? Why aren't you working? Smack! The whipped employees scrambled about. The event preparations began immediately. Heroes were guided by staff into various groups. With thousands of participants, they were organized into teams. Dimensional gates appeared throughout the circular stadium. 1-inch TV. Pick me up. Huh? Niflheimer in a 4-star dimensional city? BJ. Assalamu alaikum. Viewers, 3053. A broadcast banner floated on the right side of my view. It was anything screen. The Raid Festa provided many broadcast opportunities for BJs. While most users focused on the rankers participating in raids, this time it was different. Niflheimer was here after all. This wasn't the place. The broadcast was covering the individual event site. I glanced at it briefly before dragging the broadcast out of my field of vision. I couldn't get the exact situation from the game screen. The preliminary seemed to involve a small number of participants. I counted the people assigned to the same group as me, about 20 people.
The number of participants would increase as the rounds progressed. From the preliminaries, the odds were thousands to 1. There were too many variables. One could be ambushed or caught in an unexpected accident. Those confident in their skills would go to the singles or team events. I noticed heroes exiting the stadium to apply for other events. It wasn't too late for other events yet. Naturally, I wouldn't leave. I came to win it all. Preliminary Group 18 heroes, please return your equipment. At the corner of the stadium, in front of a dimensional gate, a staff member opened the door of a display case installed on the wall. You can't bring your own items. If caught, you will be disqualified immediately. We'll keep your armor and equipment safe, so please take them off and put them inside. Heroes began to strip off their armor and equipment and started placing them into the lockers. Once you enter the dimensional gate, the preliminary round will start immediately. As mentioned earlier, you can be resurrected, so don't worry. Just do your best. I unfastened my leather armor and my Bifrost dagger and placed them in the display case. Even if I tried to cheat, I couldn't take Bifrost with me. It was secured with various security magics. I'd retrieve it after passing the preliminary. All right, go on in. Whirring. A dimensional gate, as tall as I was spinning. The other participants had already entered. I was the last. I spoke to the female staff member standing demurely behind me. If I finish the preliminary round quickly, can I leave? You may leave if you finish earlier, but this event is likely to be a long haul. I stepped into the dimensional gate. A unique sensation of buoyancy enveloped me as light wrapped around my entire body. Floor. Special event field. Objective: survive until you are the last one standing. I opened my eyes. I looked around. It seemed I was summoned to one side of a high-rise building. Exposed concrete and bare steel frames were visible. This field was modern style too. It seemed to be modeled after a ruined city. It was late at night. A crescent moon shone through the broken window glass. 20 survivors. The odds were 1 in 20. A mini-map of this field was displayed on the left side of my view. The red on the outskirts must be the no-entry zones. They would shrink over time, as mentioned. First, find a weapon. It would be foolish to go unarmed. Supposedly, usable items were scattered everywhere. After about 10 minutes of rummaging nearby, I managed to find a rusted iron pipe. It was pathetic in performance, but would serve as a makeshift sword. I carried the iron pipe down the stairs. Hey there! On the 3rd floor of the ruined building, someone called to me. Turning towards the sound, a young man holding a crossbow was approaching me. Nice to meet you. You're aiming for victory too, right? I nodded. It's still early. I don't think we need to fight right away. How about we join forces? It would be a good tactic to increase our survival chances. I've been watching, and you seem like a warrior. I come from a rogue background. We could make a good team. He was suggesting forming a party. Indeed, not a bad idea. It seems we understand each other. My name is Lahan and... Thump. I struck the young man's head with the iron pipe. Oh! Thump, thump, thump. Each time I swung the pipe, blood spattered from his head. 1 kill. Hastily, I took the crossbow, bolts, and first aid kit from the young man's body and continued down the stairs.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.